Now, there's already a lot of information about 2026, especially when it comes to the January 1st wave, which has pretty much already fully been leaked out, but I want to look toward the tail end of 2026 and the start of 2027 to look at some of the sets that we could be seeing. There's a lot to talk about, so if you're excited, leave a like, and without further ado, let's get right on into this video. Now, these first few sets relate to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that's going to be coming out in 2026, and LEGO has definitely been focusing quite a lot on this movie when looking toward the leaks. Most of the leaked sets that we already have for the first part of 2026 are related to this movie, and even more sets are rumored to be related to this movie as well. So there's a lot of speculation going on behind the scenes, but there's definitely two big sets that point out, the first of which is the Mandalorian's N1 Starfighter. Now, this is a set that we saw in a play-scaled form a couple years ago now, I think too, and I think that was overall a pretty underwhelming set. However, this time it is looking like it could be the UCS set when it comes to 2026, taking up the smaller price point. Now, coming in probably anywhere between $240 to $300, this would fit that price point. We did see a UCS N1 Starfighter years and years ago with the Naboo version, and it would be cool to get a new version all the way now in 2026, and it would be very fitting in the movie given that it is the Mandalorian's main vehicle after the destruction of the Razor Crest. And I feel like this is the most likely when it comes to a smaller version of the UCS sets, and I think that it could be one that we do end up seeing and would definitely be fitting given the movie. Next is going to be an AT-AT. Now, we do have the midi-scale AT-AT coming out in the first half of 2026, but a lot of people have been holding out to see a new version of a play-scale AT-AT, and that being a kind of evergreen set in terms for LEGO Star Wars, where we see many AT-ATs over the years. I feel like it is inevitable to the point where we see the next one, whether that be in 2026, 2027, or a couple of years down the line, but it would be very cool to see the AT-AT tied into the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, because we've only really ever seen it based off of Hoth, so it would be cool to see it take place somewhere else. And I think that this could definitely be a very fun playset, and there's definitely a couple of price points where this would fit in, most likely coming in at $160 and around 900 pieces would make the most sense given the current state of LEGO Star Wars now. And when it comes to an AT-AT, definitely would be a great playset. Fans always love the AT-AT. It's such an iconic vehicle when it comes to Star Wars, so I feel like if it is very prevalent in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, there's a very high chance of seeing a playset version. Now, moving on to battle packs. We already have one of our battle packs leaked for 2026 being the Siege of Mandalore battle pack, which is shaping up to be a pretty fun one. But we also have a little bit of insight toward a $45 super battle pack, which is very sad to see, especially with all of the backlash surrounding the 327th Clone Trooper battle pack. But there are a couple of rumors and speculation regarding this battle pack, and the biggest one is that it will be some sort of wolf pack battle pack. Now, that is kind of just the one that everyone's gravitating toward. It's the one that the people want the most, and when looking toward all of the clone legions that we have gotten, the wolf packs seem to be the logical up next answer, and I think finally getting them in their phase 2 form once again after so many years would be amazing to see. Such a fan favorite minifigure, and one that is so expensive on the aftermarket. Getting them in a battle pack, even though it may be a $45 battle pack, still makes them more accessible than they are today, and I think they're definitely overdue for a revamp when it comes down to the new variations of LEGO Clone Troopers, and that is definitely the one at a lot of people's tops of their lists when it comes to what they want to see in this $45 battle pack. Now, a couple of other clone legions that we have been waiting to see new battle packs for, definitely the 212th as well as the Kashyyyk Trooper battle packs. I think that those are less likely than seeing the wolf pack, or even maybe seeing the Galactic Marines, which we saw in 2025 in the Turbo Tank, definitely being a fan favorite minifigure, but being locked behind a $160 paywall would be great to see them in a battle pack, as one that a lot of people have been asking for, and I can definitely see LEGO throwing them into a new battle pack in 2026 because they're still on the production line, so it wouldn't be hard for them to do. Now, there is also a couple of ideas that this might not even end up being a clone battle pack, because there are other things out there that we could see this be. Now, a lot of people think that it could also have tie-in to the anniversary of Rogue One. Come turning 10 years in 2026, would be sick to see some sort of Rogue One style battle pack, whether that be Shore Troopers, or if it has Death Troopers, or even if it is like a Rogue One Rebel battle pack. Now, personally, I'd love to see the Shore Troopers and a Death Trooper kind of mix where you get 2 and 2, because the Shore Troopers are such a great minifigure, and it's been so long since we've seen them, and now that we have been recently introduced to the Death Troopers in the Undead battle pack, wouldn't be hard for LEGO to wipe that printing off and turn them back into normal Death Troopers, so I think that that is also a pretty high likelihood. Next, I want to talk about a set that has been talked about for the past 2 years now, and I think calling this a rumor is probably a bit of an overstatement because it has been, quote unquote, a rumor for the past 2 years and we haven't seen anything about it yet, but that is going to be a Master Builder Series Ewok Village. Now, like I said, this one is just kind of an obvious answer, and it has been something that's been thrown around by the fans for so long now, and I feel like if enough people take shots in the dark, eventually it's going to end up happening. It's kind of inevitable, especially looking toward the success of the previous one, and coming into the whole new era of 18 plus Lego Star Wars and all of like the diorama-esque builds, I think that this could make a perfect set built into the trees, very similar to what we saw with the previous one, probably just cleaned up, maybe cut down a little bit in size, but I still think that this would be a great set. I think the other one is just such a beloved set, and it is so expensive on the aftermarket nowadays that I think if Lego was to make a new one, they would sell like hotcakes. It's been such a high demand set, and I think Lego would be foolish not to make it, and that is why I think that it's definitely on the table for the next Master Builder Series Lego Star Wars set. Now moving on to some less likely and more wishful thinking themed sets, we have the Jedi Temple. Now this is a set that a lot of people have been wanting for so long now, and it's one that we haven't really seen anything, and it doesn't really have much potential to become a set, just given how awkward it is, whether it would come in as a very expensive UCS set, like above $1,000, or if it would just end up being a lackluster playset similar to the Yavin 4 base. So I feel like it still is a set that Lego could make, but I feel like it will definitely be very 50-50, but that doesn't change the fact that it's something that the fans want and that Lego could definitely deliver on. I think getting a build, whether it be some sort of diorama or a mini scale set, a playset, or even in a UCS form would definitely be great to see, and you could get some fan favorite minifigures like the Nightfall Anakin, you could get some 501st Clone Troopers, and we could finally see the Jedi Temple Guards make an appearance in Lego Star Wars. And I think that this would be a perfect set, and I think that it would sell very well. However, I think it is very unlikely to see the Jedi Temple, especially in 2026 and 2027. I feel like it's a set that has the possibility to be made, but it will definitely take a couple of years to be seen from Lego Star Wars. Next, we have a Kashyyyk playset. Now, this is actually very similar to a canceled Kashyyyk playset that we had seen many years ago in the Small Star Wars book. And finally getting this after, it being canceled for so long would be amazing, and this mock-up is incredible. And I think while Lego probably wouldn't do this mock-up justice, it would definitely be a bit different. I think when comparing something like this to the Christmas tree that was just revealed for Lego, could definitely be in the plane of existence. However, this would well be over a $300 set, would even probably be approaching $500, but even then, I would not care. I think this set looks amazing. I think coming down to the overall tree build, it's just pretty ingenious of how it was executed, and you have all of your different iconic parts of Kashyyyk coming together into this set. So I think it would be perfect. You get the kind of build and displayable part on the front, and you can flip it around to see all of the back exterior, which is what we see Lego do with their sets. So I think this could be very likely, but I think what would be most exciting for a prospect of a big Kashyyyk playset would be all of the minifigures. It's been quite a long time since we've seen the Kashyyyk Troopers as well as Commander Grease, so getting them in another set would be amazing. And then you could get your Yoda and all of your Wookiees as well, which here, the Wookiees with the tall legs look very good, and I really hope the next time that we see Wookiees, they have the tall legs. I mean, it makes sense. They're so much taller than the average minifigure or average person in Star Wars, so it would make sense to see them like this. Now, unfortunately, Lego tends to cut corners for Lego Star Wars, so I don't know if we would see them include these tall legs. But most importantly, we have the Delta Squad, kind of a call to the Republic Commandos when they were on Kashyyyk, and this would be so cool to see. The Commandos have been something that the fans have wanted from Lego for so long now, and if we were finally able to get them in minifigure form, and better yet, to see them in a playset as good as the Kashyyyk set, it would be amazing. Now, unfortunately, something like this is just way too good to be true when it comes to Lego. I think if Lego did revisit Kashyyyk, we'd see them revisit it by making a bunch of different smaller sets that you'd have to buy and combine. We'd probably get like an AT-AP, maybe a new Wookiee Catamaran would be pretty cool, getting a new Luminara because it's been so long, and we did just get the Turbo Tank, so that'd probably be off of the table. But there's a lot of really cool sets when it comes to Kashyyyk, and I feel like when it comes to Kashyyyk, it is a planet that Lego frequently visits, so I have no doubt that we'll see another Kashyyyk wave in the future. Now, focusing our attention to 2027, which happens to have two pretty big anniversaries anniversaries, the first of which being for Attack of the Clones, and the second of which being the bigger one for A New Hope, which marks the 50th anniversary of Star Wars in general, so I do expect to see quite a few sets in correlation to both of those milestones, but A New Hope will probably take the cake. But I do want to talk about a couple of sets that we could see for the anniversary for Attack of the Clones, because there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Now we have the obvious contenders like a new AT-AT, which has been a little bit since we've seen the last AT-TE from 2022, so getting a new themed AT-TE off of episode 2 would be very cool to see. Now there also is the Republic gunship, which we haven't seen since 2013, one that a lot of people have been wanting, especially after the retirement of the Coruscant Guard gunship, but there are a couple of more out there that I think are a bit cooler and would definitely be warranting sets. Now the first of which has to be the Geonosis Arena. This is something that fans have wanted for so long. There's so many great mocks out there, and this mock-up in particular looks amazing. You could get all of the really fun creatures as well as having the overall build with minifigures like Count Dooku, Mace Windu. You could get all of your different Jedi as well, like Coleman Trebor, Anakin, Obi-Wan, as well as a new Geo Padme, and all of the cool kind of sand red colored droids. And there's just so much going on with a set like this. I believe there was a mock-up of it at some point that LEGO trashed, but I do think that this would make an amazing set, and it's so disappointing that we haven't seen something like this at all. And I think it's definitely a big contender when it comes down to 2027 if we do see anniversary sets for Attack of the Clones. Now the next of which being a remake of the Bounty Hunter's Pursuit, this being such kind of a cult classic set, I would have to say. There's a lot of people out there that really love this set, me included. I think it's a very underrated one. However, it definitely has had a lot more limelight in the recent years, but I think just the fun designs of these vehicles just look so cool with the yellow and kind of like that lime green, as well as getting some iconic minifigures like Zam Wessel, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and if LEGO wanted to get crazy, we could get Jango Fett because we just got that new UCS version that would be perfect. And if LEGO wanted to get even more crazy, we could get the Death Stick guy that gives tries to give Obi-Wan the Death Sticks. That could be pretty cool to see as well. But it's just a very fun set, and it's such an expensive one given that we only ever saw it in 2002. So it would be cool to see, but probably the coolest one and the one that I want to see the most, it's Dex's Diner. Now, this probably is the least likely, because when looking towards Star Wars, I doubt that LEGO would consider giving us a LEGO Star Wars themed diner. It just doesn't really fit the theme as well as it would fit some other themes like City or Friends or some other stuff like that. But nonetheless, it would be amazing to see a Star Wars themed diner, and amazing to see all of the minifigures that would coincide with it, especially finally getting Dex himself. We've seen him in the LEGO games, we've seen mock-ups of him, and it's a fan favorite minifigure that everyone has wanted to see for a long time. Very similar to the Pong Krell that we originally saw back in, I believe, 2013 in the V19 or the Z95 Headhunter, but this would overall just be a very fun set. Now, ideally, I think this would make a perfect May 4th promo in a very small scale set, kind of similar to the Homestead set that we saw with the Aunt Peru minifigure. I think getting that with a Dex would be amazing. I think that would be the perfect way to get this, because to be honest, I don't see LEGO ever making this a set on its own. But as a May 4th promo, it would be amazing, especially if it tied into the anniversary of Attack of the Clones. But I think that would be sick. Next up, I want to briefly talk about clone mechs. Now, in the start of 2026, we're going to be getting a Shock Trooper clone mech, which is definitely pretty lackluster, especially at the very high price point and only getting one Shock Trooper in it. However, if this set is one that LEGO wants to make more of in the future, it definitely opens the door to see some other really cool clone troopers and named characters that we haven't otherwise seen. Most importantly, something like a Phase 2 Commander Wolf, maybe getting like a Commander Doom, and all of the other named clone troopers that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to be slotted into a set could now be made and put into a $17 mech. And while it definitely is a pretty price-steep set, it would be great to finally have the opportunity to get some of these different named clones, as well as if LEGO just started making mechs for other characters as well. Could be very cool, and I just figured it was worth talking about, because if LEGO does this and it's not just a one-off Shock Trooper mech, it definitely opens the door to see some really cool clone troopers. So comment down below who you would want to see make an appearance in a LEGO clone mech. And lastly, I want to talk about some other 18 plus sets. Now, first off with dioramas has definitely been something that we haven't seen for a while from LEGO, being replaced by other 18 plus sets like helmets and other things like that, but I still think they could make a comeback. And a big set that was missing from 2025 was Palpatine's Arrest. Now, it's a set that a lot of people have been wanting to see a remake of, given how expensive the playset has become, and it would definitely be a perfect diorama set, and as well as just being a really cool display piece, could give us some amazing minifigures that we haven't seen in such a long time, like Agent Kohler, Saucy Tin, and as well as a Kit Fisto. So this would be a perfect set to see, and one at the top of a lot of people's lists. Now, another one kind of in the same vein would be a Jedi Council Room diorama, another one that a lot of people have wanted to see. I think the Jedi Council Room just is a very cool design, and especially having all of the great minifigures and all of the different named Jedi that we haven't been seeing otherwise, and even if we could get some like cool hologram minifigures would be so cool to see as well. Now, definitely I think is less likely to see than a Palpatine's Arrest, but both of which would be really cool to see. And then there's also the new kind of line for LEGO 18 Plus, which are the busts. Now we're seeing a Yoda as well as a Darth Vader, so that definitely opens the opportunity to get a lot more other sets in that kind of vein. I don't know who we would get, maybe getting a new Darth Maul or something like that, especially with the Maul Shadow show around the corner for Star Wars. Would be cool to kind of get a rehash, maybe like an homage to the OG buildable Darth Maul head. But that is just something that we'll just have to wait and see. And now there's also a couple of buildable droids, and I wanted to talk about one. There was a fake kind of rumor going around, but I still want to talk about it because I think it's a great idea, and that was that there's going to be a buildable tactical droid. Now, that's fake. There is actually nothing backing that, but I think it's a great idea. I think with LEGO kind of going back and rehashing some of the old molds as well, if we got the buildable tactical droid, we would get a tactical droid minifigure in that set as well as a little display plaque. So I think that would be a great thing to see. Now, like I said, it's not a real leak, unfortunately, or rumor. It was just someone's little wish list that got taken out of context, but I still think that it would make a great set, and I do believe that the tactical droid definitely needs to be reintroduced to LEGO Star Wars, given how expensive it has become, as well as just getting more separatist sets. But that's going to do it for this video, because I don't want this to go on too long. Let me know if you guys want to see a part 2, though, because there's a lot more ideas out there, some great ones, as well as some other leaks and rumors that we'll have to talk about pretty soon in the future. So if you want to stay up to date on all of the different information, make sure to subscribe with the post notifications on, so you are first notified when those videos are posted, and let me know down below in the comments what sets you want to see over the next couple of years. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Drew, signing out.